Appreciate that, man. What's going on with your trucker pilot? Yeah, man, I was actually checking out my new testing out some of my new camera equipment, and I said, let me go ahead and give it a shot. So how's your night going, man? You out there rolling? Appreciate that, man. What's going on with your trucker pilot? Yeah, man, I was actually checking out my new testing out some of my new camera equipment, and I said, let me go ahead and give it a shot. Good old Little Rock. I just looked at a load going to Arkansas for Amazon. As you know, I've been doing a lot of Amazon, and I got a lot of footage coming about that and basically how to make that work. That'll be coming in the works. But yeah, I just looked at a little going that way, but ain't no really no need. Nightly gig. Nightly gig. Sorry, guys, my daughter just popped in, crashing my live. What is that? What is that? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Well, that's cool. You pilot, that's cool. You got something going there pretty consistent. Right now, that's what you need, right? Consistency. A lot of people ain't getting that, man. If you can find something consistent, especially right now in this market, jump on it. I really didn't think it'd be many people on right now um, doing any lives, but I figured I would go ahead and give it a shot. Oh man, sorry to hear that. But I met a guy, kind of similar situation. Although he didn't have his own truck, but he had actually it was a carpentry. He had a carpentry company. Said he was building hotels and for the Indians out west. And long story short, he said his wife had got sick and he had to do something because he had some problems with his business partner. And he said that he went and started driving for Super Ego, leased it a brand new truck and trailer. He said he's buying it from them. And we had met at a pickup together. and he was giving me his background, you know, and he's like he's had a CDL for 40 years, and he had never thought he was going to come back into trucking, and he did. Um, he said he was happy that he fell on it, and mind you, out of those 40 years, apparently he never let it lapse. He kept renewing, you know, his CDL and getting his updated physicals and stuff like that. And it was a real good conversation. I wish I could have actually interviewed him, but um, I didn't want to put him on blast. It was like a last minute thing. But yeah, he said the same thing. You know, his wife was ill, and but the thing with in his situation, he's still running on the road because he's trying to, you know, maintain their house and keep their house, because you know, when he went through his business situation, he said he pretty much almost lost everything, and as much as he want to be home with her, he doesn't want her to worry about them losing their home, man. And he's an older gentleman too, and I just kind of took my hat off to him, man. You know, I couldn't imagine my wife being home, being sick, and I'm out there on the road. But he said he just didn't want her to worry about, you know, not having nowhere to stay in the time she's trying to, you know, recover and enjoy the last bit of, you know, little bits and of her life or whatever. You know, it's like a bittersweet thing, man. But I can dig it, man. So I take my hat off to you, man, and hope that those things get better for you. Yeah, I hear that, man. Wow, sorry to hear that. But you said it right. Concentrating on her and not the truck. I like how you put that. Family first, man. You know, I mean, we do what we do for our families to begin with. You know, we sacrifice so much time, but there is a time where you gotta readjust, and that's one of the reasons I started doing, going back to doing a lot of the Amazon stuff. But you know, Amazon also ended up working out profitably too. But I wanted to be home. You know, I got, you know, my daughter, I got my, you know, my wife still here, and you know, I was trying to be close a little bit more, to be home a little bit more, because you know, at the end of the day, man, you know, I don't want to be, you know, 5 6 years down the road, OTR all over the place still. I mean, I enjoy it when I get out and to do that, and every now and again I like to stretch my legs, but you know, you become an owner operator or a carrier owner to scale back. You know, you normally got to put that time in starting out, but you got to scale back, and we're actually the same age, man, and I do not plan on, you know, 10 years down the road going hard. May still have the company and doing, you know, things the way I'm doing it. I got another driver that runs loads for me, but definitely scaling back to have that quality time with the family. Yeah, and I think that that's also a part of the entrepreneur mentality, and that was something I had to shake. I have my designated time that I will do paperwork and work on a truck. I tell you what, though, I was so bad here lately that I've been late filing IFTA, paying penalties and all that, because I just believe in that balance, man. And now I've really got myself in a habit where when I'm home, I'm home. You know, working on a truck, or anything unless it's something I have to do. And generally, I've developed a maintenance schedule, and I try and stick to that so that when I am home, I don't have to do anything. But you know how it goes. Like you said, in a perfect world, it always will work out like that. But when it don't, you kind of got to flip the script. So I usually have to flip the script every now and again, but I will stick to my time being my time, even at the cost of paperwork being late. But you know, that's just me. I know what I can push off and what I can't. Glasses here. I could dig that. I could dig that. Not wrenching and only wrenching you turning is doing the husband duties, right? Talk about those rates, man. You know, that's kind of the talk of the time right now, where everybody's talking about rates, and are they going to come back up? Are they going to be, is it going to be a turn? What I'm seeing is things are starting to normalize out on the balance far as fuel's concerned, and I'm totally okay and happy that fuel's coming down, because that does mean that the rates will kind of help alleviate the high fuel costs. Now, whereas though the rates did not reflect any cushion on fuel, so with fuel coming down, it's balancing out some of the rates in some of the areas, and that's still going to depend on the areas that we're running, because obviously, the west rates are different, the north rates are different, the southeast rates are different, the far south rates are different. Depending on what you haul in, box, dry, flat dry, flat tarp, all those rates are going to play a different role. But I am glad to see that, the fuel at least is going down. Rates seem to be just, teeter-tottling, man. And luckily I do know how to weed out the rates that I need for the companies that I want to pull for. And generally I can find good stuff on the spot market, even in the South. But what I am finding is that, like, a lot of the ports, like Savannah and Atlanta, even some of the up like in Illinois and things like that, that it's getting harder to get freight out of there during certain times of the day. And one of the key things I've learned, and I try and tell a lot of beginners, is that you got to know those lanes, right? So in knowing the lanes, you also have to know when is the time to pull freight at the highest peaks. And I believe, in Florida, I want to say the peaks is between April and what was I think I was going to say somewhere from like February, April, and I think Atlanta is like right around the time school starts in Atlanta, um, for the several months after, it's those high times. So we're just getting ready to get back in. We're in the back in that time where school is just starting in Atlanta. So Atlanta area freight is really booming. I pulled a lot of freight out of there a few weeks ago. But gotta learn those lanes, guys. Gotta learn those lanes. No, have not heard about that. All About Business. I have not heard about that at all. That's kind of scary. No, I'm gonna have to look into that. That that's extremely scary. But I'm trying to figure out how does that work, because when I fill out a carrier packet and you book a load, that's crazy, because there's a lot of variables that has to fall into place with that. So if carriers, if brokers are stealing their MCs now, I have heard about brokers making fake rate cons and things like that, and running freight with fake rate cons, and come to find out you go run this load and it's basically useless. I have found out about that, and hence the reason why. Here's a couple things here. That this is a good conversation for this, and I'm probably going to do another video on this. But hence is the reason why I'm a fan of factoring companies, because factoring companies allow you to alleviate a lot of this stuff because they have the resources. So the minute I book a load, I run it through my factoring company for two reasons. One, I want to know what their credit is and if I'm going to get paid on the load. And two, I can verify their legitimacy of the broker, right? And if you want to take it a step further, just like they can put our MC number in and go on Safer and run it and get all that information, we can do the same thing for them. But I feel like if I'm going to pay my factoring company a percentage of my load, then why not get all the services behind that, you know? Because at that point, you're spending money, so why not spend the money to protect yourself? But this is another reason why I am a fan of factoring companies. But I'm have to look into that. That's crazy. This is good stuff there. I did not know that. Yeah, I haven't watched much of his stuff lately. I love Mother Trucker Man, but he's been doing a lot of clickbait stuff, and a lot of stuff he be posting is, it's like, it's not like it used to be. So I haven't really been watching much of his stuff, but I'm gonna have to go there and check that out. Definitely have to check that out. Wow. So Nate, you actually had somebody try and book something under yours? Wow. Now, I could get that on a carrier side, but on a broker side, that's kind of crazy. I'd imagine um, I'd imagine that they're trying to run blind loads. And if you never ran a blind loads are basically, you go pick up a load, you get there, you telling them the information that's on your Raycon, and they're looking at you like you're crazy. They're like asking you who you drive for, and you're telling them, and then they're like, well, that's not what we have. And sometimes the brokers will tell you, look, when you go there, say you're picking this load up for whatever, because what they'll do is they're telling their customer that they're going to deliver it, but they might not really have the capacity. And instead of losing that customer, they'll run a blind load, which is perfectly legal and it's okay as long as you know. I've done plenty blind loads like that, but I can see somebody trying to do something under somebody's number under blind loads. But the thing is, you'll always be able to verify where you were and dispute a lot of that stuff if anything ever comes behind it. That's the power of your ELD too, because there's a lot of um, I got it from a DOT officer. I think he called it taggings. Basically, they're like taggings that's in the ELD that you can't see. But that's a whole nother video for a whole nother conversation. And I found that out on my audit about that. So my question is, Nate, is how did you find out who was the carrier or the guy that did it? How did you find that information out? And the thing about it is, I wonder how they're getting paid, because that's the other thing. When you set up a carrier packet, and if you have a factoring company, a lot of times that information will automatically pop in, and it'll automatically pop in the pay to the factoring company. So they got to be pretty sharp to catch it, because otherwise they'll be running loads under somebody else's carrier, and the carrier will be just getting funds that they don't even know why they're getting these funds. So that takes a lot of information changing, because I have filled out carrier packets and my factoring company will automatically pop up in there. And if it's a load that I don't want to factor, I have to physically go in there and change that information and delete it out and take a direct payment, if you will. It's a good thing that broker called you, man, because that there could have been disastrous, and that's scary, man. I mean, people are really doing some desperate stuff out there, and we can't win out here, with what we do. I mean, we're regulated so hard, man. We're regulated harder than airline pilots, man, and we got everybody in our pocket. Everybody trying to take, as much as they can from us, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like we all need to have a sit down and just stop. We don't even have to stop for a whole day. 2 hours will cripple the economy, man. You know, and a lot of this stuff is going on because number one, our government don't protect us. Number two, we won't stand up. People are so scared that, oh, I gotta run. I can't sit my truck down for a day or 2 days. You're running it and ain't making money anyway. So I don't get it. We really got to do better as truckers, as a community, to really, start kind of pushing, the law to recognize the importance of what we do, man. I mean, we don't even have anywhere safe barely to park. And this is the reason why I created the page American Convoy, which I'm still trying to get movement behind, because I want to eventually take these thoughts, these petitions, and make that trip down to Washington and actually make them hear us. I'm not going to get into a whole lot, but there's been a few guys that's call themselves trying to go down to Washington and do convoys and things like that, and they're convoying and protesting for the wrong things, like those guys did in not California, and well, they did do one in California, but down there in Canada, they wouldn't protest about nothing else, but when they wanted them to be vaccinated, all of them got together and damn near shut Canada down. But we won't do that for these rates. We won't do that for our detention pay. We won't do that to hold these companies accountable that's holding our time up. We won't do that for those people that are stealing money for us. But we'll protest, for the wrong things. And I really want to change that. That's really what I want to, push my platform towards, because something needs to change. And I'm gonna tell you, if you guys know me, I will be down there blaring horns, almost in jail until somebody talks to me. But I feel like we got to become a point where we become too large to be ignored, because that's the thing. We have to, you get enough people behind enough people, you can't ignore it. But I won't ramble about that. But I really, that's something I really feel strong about, though. I'll go down here and read some more of these comments. I did not see the Canada thing as far as that, but I know one thing: they got what they wanted. I don't know if it was a separate incident, but they overturned that vaccination mandate for those people to get back in the country over there. Um, I'm not sure about who came down on anybody, because that was kind of hush, you know. Um, but all about business, about your comment about your factoring company. Yeah, mine's I'm not contracted with either. Well, actually, let me take that back. I'm contracted per year, but I don't have to factor every load though. I can factor the brokers that I want to, but I have the um option to also check credit and check brokers, whoever I'm dealing with. It doesn't have to be the brokers that I'm factoring, if you will. So that's the difference. A lot of them talk about they don't have recourse or non-recourse, but there's always some form of recourse. What I found out, they will tell you that, but when you have a problem, believe me, they are not going to eat all that cost that they paid you. And I've learned that, even with my experience. My factoring company, excuse me, told me, oh, we it's not recourse per se, but it's a limited liability, if you will, recourse. But there's no factoring company out there that's not, doing 100% non-recourse. All about business. How you guys been doing overall? What are are you running into any other challenges of revenue? How are you keeping the revenue going? What are you doing? I'm curious to know. Like, how's it going? Hey, pilot, look, I can't add to that. You're absolutely right. There is always some form of recourse, and I don't care. And this is why it's so important, because they're not even going to factor nobody that ain't really going to be paying you. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share this with you guys. I just recently went through a situation with JB Hunt where I did a load. Everything was fine. I was running their power only. I used the trailer, did some loads in between, and then I finished off my load in Florida. And then I had the trailer for about 2 days or 3 days because I got back on a Friday. And they messaged me Monday talking about, you know, I used the trailer unauthorized, out of network, because it's supposed to only be power only load. And I booked the dry van load with JB Hunt, mind you. Their dry van load ended up, they're telling me I owe them $1,500 because they charge $500 a day because I held up their trailer and they lost that revenue. And that's what they charge, $500 a day, right? Oh, about a month went by, heard nothing. I said, no, let me bring you guys your trailer back. And the crazy thing is their yard literally is down the street from my yard where I park my trucks. And I got up, went right there, took them the trailer right away, and I had never had an issue with them. Well, last week, I factored some loads, and I was waiting for my deposit to hit on my account, and the first deposit didn't come through. Called the factoring company. Lo and behold, they held $1,500 for JB Hunt for over a month ago situation that happened. JB Hunt never reached out to me, never said that they were going to charge me factually, and didn't tell me anything. But the factoring company had already paid me. You see, they had already paid me, so I had got my money for the loads. All that to say, recourse. I ended up having to pay that money back, to the factoring company. And hence a sour taste in my mouth, between I and JB Hunt. But, I had the trailer. Even though I wasn't using it, and they could see that it wasn't being used, and they could see where it was at, literally down the street from them. But see, that was all about them getting money out of me. That was all about just trying to figure out. So I scaled back on hauling loads for them. Will I haul loads for them again? Absolutely. But yeah, recourse. They definitely got me. In one way or the other, it would have happened. I mean, it would have either, if I wasn't factoring, I would have sent the load in for them to pay me on. They wouldn't have paid me on the load, or they would have deducted that money from the load. So some kind of way I would have been, hit with it. It's just they hit me with it after it was quiet, So that's what made it burn. You said they're all about business. You said they're working over here, making over. I'm not sure what that was supposed to be. $100,003. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm gonna tell you something about flour loads. I did some flour freight when I was with actually Landstar, and I did some even under my own authority. And I'm gonna tell you, man, my biggest gripe, the loads paid well, but my biggest gripe was they load all that stuff on the floor of the trailer. And a lot of times you go to those farms, you pick them up, and the dirt is wet. And that dirt, when they take all them flowers off, you gotta, it's like they poured a whole bed of dirt down there. Try pushing wet dirt with a push broom. Man, it took me so long to get that stuff out of my truck. And then that dirt, you never really get it out the first go round. So I had to, let it literally took me probably a week to really get it all cleaned out and then blow it. That's my biggest thing about flower loads. I did not like how they loaded it on the floor. Now, if you get something where they're putting it on pallets, and a lot of times they don't want to put those on pallets because they want to pack as much as they can in that truck. So I had to kind of back off with that. I mean, for me, the money would definitely have to be worth it for me to do that consistently, because that's a lot of work on the driver. You figure every load he's got to go out there and sweep that stuff out. Now, maybe if you're only going to run exclusively flower loads and they don't care about that dirt being in there because they're going to just load more on it, then I could see that working out. But if you got to go in there and clean that out every time, that is a job in itself. Believe me, it's a job in itself. Yeah, man. Hey, pilot, you really got to change with the times, man. And I find that with a lot of the older guys too. They get stuck in their ways. They don't want to change at all. And anything you tell them, they're like, no, because they've been doing it longer and they know better than you. I mean, I got guys that have been doing it longer than me, and they're like, man, I knew nothing about this. You've opened my eyes to a whole lot of different things. And I'm gonna tell you, this is why I was saying about the Amazon thing. I got this footage I'm going to upload probably, if not tonight, tomorrow, about the Amazon stuff. But a lot of guys say, oh, can't make no money with Amazon. Their freight is cheap. It's not that the freight is cheap. It's that you got to know when to book, how to book, where to book, and, keep that consistency in those areas. Right now, their rates are actually kind of higher right now, and you make money in the blocks with Amazon. So the blocks is like Saturday. I'm taking the day and tomorrow off because I've already made over $4,000 and the week's not out yet. So, and that was just all Amazon. So now Saturday and Sunday I have a block booked, which is the block starts at 1100 plus accessorials. It's for Saturday morning till about 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Not even a full 24 hours, I don't believe it is. And it's Jacksonville to Jacksonville. So, I'm out of Jacksonville here in Florida. So they're keeping me in the same area a day and a half, not even $1,000, over 1,000 actually, because it's 1,100 plus accessorials. The only thing with the blocks is you don't know where you're going to exactly run until maybe a day or a couple of days before. But I don't care about that because they show you where you're going to be. So like, for instance, the load will say Jacksonville to Jacksonville, but it don't tell you the in between, right? So I don't care about none of that because you only got I think it was 12, 13 hours. I can't remember. So in that little bit of time, make that, $1,300. I'm going to say going to be about the ballpark for that little bit of time, and then I'm home and I'm done. So with Amazon, it's kind of like you really got to know how to run it. You can't go do a $1.33 load with them and go 800 miles on that load and it's taking you a day and a half. That's where the things get gray, and this is what a lot of guys are doing, and this is what they're seeing on the board, so they're not putting it together. But you can really make some good money with them. When I first started with my authority, I ran exclusively them, and I mean I was averaging $6,000 or better. Again, this was pre-pandemic, and this was fuel was a little bit less, but it was doable. And I stayed in one area, and that area was basically Maryland and Virginia. So a lot of the power only stuff is really about knowing how to position and who to book with. I mean, I even used to do, flatbed and transport and not having to tarp anything or strap anything down. Literally just going to pick up a flatbed trailer, take it where it need to go. It's already strapped and wrapped, drop it off, and done with it. But yeah. And you know, I saw the blocks, um and I had never played with them, and I was like kind of like on the fritz because I read about it and I saw it and I knew the idea behind it, but I was like, I don't know, I'm dedicating this time, and what if it's, it's not right, or because you don't know where they're going to send you, but because they tell you where you're starting and where you're going, that's the biggest part of it. But I'm finding out that the blocks is really where it's at. That's what it's looking like it's going to end up being for me too. So I'm liking it, man. And the loads are light and they're simple. And that's it. Now, I'm gonna tell you, they do have their mess with them, with their communication, sometimes with some of these facilities, because Amazon also does broker freight. Like, I literally went and picked up bales, cardboard bales with their trailer from a recycling place and took them to another recycling place. And I'm just like, what the hell this got to do with Amazon, And that's why I found out that Amazon was into other things. But most of the time, all Amazon freight, and I generally have few problems, but there's times where you will have some issues when you get the facilities, and they're usually pretty good about working it out. It's just their process kind of sucks a little bit. Case in point, in the videos, I don't know if I talk about this in the videos I'm getting ready to upload, but just here recently, I had a load picked up in Jacksonville, went 2 hours into Savannah, supposed to pick up in Savannah, and went to Macon, Georgia. Got to Jacksonville, they didn't have an empty trailer for me, so they made me deadhead to Savannah. Got to Savannah, there was an issue with the trailer over there, so they made me deadhead. Bobtail, bobtail from Jacksonville to Savannah. Then they made me bobtail from Savannah to Macon. And when I got to Macon, I got a trailer and finally picked up my load in Macon and brought that load back to Jacksonville. And then I had another delivery in Jacksonville, and then I was done. The moral of that is, it was a pain in the ass, bobtailing around, but they paid for me to go to every location. So the block that I picked in I picked a tour actually. So the tour that I picked, they were like, every time I got to a stop, even if you have an issue in that tour, whatever that tour pays, they're going to pay you no matter what. So that was the beauty of that. I hope I made sense. I know I kind of got a little tongue-tied a little bit, but they will take care of you on that. Now, nothing but business. Hey, 100 grand in 3 months, it's doable. I know guys that did that at Landstar. But that's good money. I mean, I can't argue with that. And if you're going to use their trailer and their equipment, hey, that might be, where it is. Let me know how that works out, man. I'm curious to know. Let me know how that works out. Yeah, you can run Amazon Pilot with your own trailer. It's called required only, and it's on their load board. So when you're looking at the load board, you just select trailer required. But I'm going to tell you what I find. This is another reason why I stopped using my trailer, is because Amazon doesn't have a whole lot in certain areas, and a lot more areas than others, but they don't really have a lot of that kind of freight when you're using your own trailer, and the rates are really not that much more different. So I found that I would go and try and do that, and I could be, let's say, in North, getting to a location, because Amazon's everywhere. Even if I got a deadhead 30 miles or 100 miles, I even, deadhead at one time 130 miles to go pick up a load for Amazon that was only going 2 hours away, but that load was paying over, $600-700 for 2 hours. So, that was a no-brainer. But like you said, who cares about what's in the middle? Yeah, there's a lot of bait and switches going on, all about business with some of these companies that's taking money off the top. And unfortunately, some of it you just not going to be able to do anything about, right? And then some of it you're going to be able to kind of mitigate. Um, but with that, this is why I say know that rate and know what you need, because the minute that something changes, because it's one thing we agree on a rate and you pay me what I ask you, but it's another thing when I run the freight and then you come up with some fees to take the money that we negotiated on. That's a whole different ball game, and some companies will do that, and that's when you got to figure out, do you want to cut those ties, or do you want to keep rolling that dice? And for me, I'll cut a broker quick. I will cut a broker quick and say, hey, no, this is not what we agreed on. I'm gonna run this and I'm done, because I don't play those kind of games. No, I think Pilot, All About Business was just doing power only for them. They're pretty, fairly new authority too. So they definitely wasn't. I don't believe they were leased on to Schneider. Yeah, they're doing their own thing. I don't even know how long we are. We've been rapping. Let's see. I don't even know. I don't know much about the PTL power only. I'm gonna look into it though. That's pretty. It's pretty good to know. They've been around a while though, so I wouldn't be terribly surprised to find out that they've you know, pretty decent, because that company's been around a long time. Yeah, appreciate that, man, because I can't see it. I can't see the time on mine. I'm actually streaming this through another camera, and I can't see it even on YouTube. It's not showing me now. When I normally stream it through the phone, I can see the time pass. So no big deal though. No big deal. We'll be jumping off here soon, and unless you guys ain't got no other questions or nothing, nobody else chimes in. I enjoy talking to you guys though. I like to talk to the people that you know, likes to interact and really, got some feedback to give out there. Some people just be watching and they just don't feedback. But I want to know, because I'm telling you, I learned a lot of stuff from you guys too, man. I learned a lot of stuff from you guys. Copy that, pilot. Man, speaking of that, man, I'm trying to get my pilot license, man, and yeah, I'm trying. It's a job in itself. Every time I try and get in motion, I know nothing about it, so it's like I'm trying to get there, man. Get there. I'm jealous, man. Gosh, I'm jealous. Wow. So you running that kind of freight for them, and they decided they want to start playing. But see, that's how I felt about JB Hunt. I was running crazy freight for them, and I'm like, y'all gonna trip on me about a load that I ran under with y'all trailer for y'all? And it was like, nah, I mean, I was borderline ready to cut them, but it was that gray area, and I ran a load that they shouldn't have even allowed me to book. But neither here nor there. This is the game that they play. But I don't blame you guys, man. I would have got out of there and cut my ties too, because they were really playing with you guys' money. And I think that was they the same ones that kind of switched price on the load and talking about they made a mistake. Was that them? Man, I might have to come up there, man, and learn how to fly, man, when you got time, man. How much that's going to run me to get into something like that? So, our let's see, all about business. Y'all out there rolling tonight? $7K, $10K is pretty. It's kind of the idea I had thought about. So that's not a bad deal. Where you out of? Copy that. All about business. Same to you. Likewise. Be safe out there. And anytime, man. Anytime. I'm here. So Nate, is that where you teach out of as well? Yeah, I'm in Florida. Oh, I can get down there, man. I'm not stuck in Florida. I get down there. I'm actually in my bus right now. That I'm gonna be taking a trip here soon. Up north, go visit some family. Yeah, I'm looking into it. I got a buddy of mine who's a pilot, and he gave me some good information. He was recommending me to go learn something about learning about the mechanics part of it, and he explained why. He said, I know it sounds kind of backwards, but he was like, you go and learn something about the mechanics, go to school for the mechanics, and it was easier to transition. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to ask him about it, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about the Atlanta deal. Maybe I'll do that. I'll look into that. It's a good alternative. Yeah, I can imagine in up there in the the OKC. Well, we're gonna go ahead and I guess wrap this up. I think everybody's just about out, and I'm gonna go ahead and try and have some R&R time, and I got to get up and do a little odds and ends and running around. I hope you have a good night, man. It was good talking with you and all that good stuff. So I'll be shutting it down here in about another 5 minutes or so. Yes, sir. No problem, man. You did. You caught me live, man. You caught me live. And I might start having them on Thursdays. I'm going to try and get a better time once I can figure out what kind of time is good for most people. I'll try and have a consistent day for a live. Maybe do 2 a day. Well, not a day, but 2, a week. Maybe one's on Thursday mid-afternoon, or early, mid-afternoon, or one at later at night or something like that. But we're still tweaking it. What's going on? Hood Chef done into the building, man. We shutting it down, man. We done talked about a lot of different things, man. Yeah, I was actually telling them earlier about the guy I met over there at Super Ego. I was telling my buddy Nate here that about that guy. Hood Chef works over there too, Nate at Super Ego. But we about wrapping it up now, Will. We talked about everything, man, just from different scenarios, from rates to, man, there's some things going around with brokers using other people MCs and running loads under other people without people knowing, to just how to maneuver in the market, man, and whatnot. So yeah, we done covered a lot, dude. I think the video will be pretty much saved on the archive, so you can go ahead in there and check those out, whatever. But yeah, man, hope everything good with your big dog, and we'll be talking. You can actually read through the comments. We're gonna start having them. We're gonna start having them. I was just saying, I'm gonna start trying to be setting up a once or twice a week to have a live. Try and be consistent with my lives. Well, this is where I'm gonna wrap it up, man. And appreciate you guys that was chimed in and popped in and whatnot. And I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Let's go. I think I done closed it out. No, I didn't.